Hey everyone, Jordan here with Food Bevy, and excited for you to join today's presentation with Ben Sung, where we'll be discussing three D2C design principles for scaling CPG brands. A lot of great info, so let's get into it. Yeah.
So this presentation that you see here, don't mind the logo there. So it's one I did last week where I was speaking alongside people like Harley Finkelstein, president of Shopify, and other people that are heavily DTC founders in the space. I had this presentation you're seeing, I timed it just exactly about 15-ish to 20 minutes or so. I keep it really short, impactful. I literally spill my guts out on everything you need to know on how CPG brands are kind of scaling from six, 7, or 8 figures in revenue from a DTC point of view, what they're designing and what they're focusing on. So I'll jump right into it. We had about like 1,400 people watch this one, register for this session before. So I'm happy to kind of share this with you. And also at the end, going to answer more questions since we got a little bit more time. So background here is I used to be a fractional CMO for DTC brands in US focused ones. So from our agency, we've helped drive over 100 million revenue and currently run DTC Capital, which is a portfolio of brands and services that focus on not just supporting DTC brands, but also have our own brands in house. And as I was a fractional CMO for these two different companies, SD Wheel, if anybody's crazy in the wheel or tire space, they're a whole conglomerate of wheel and tire brands. They do about 500 to 600 million revenue, primarily based in the US. As a fractional CMO for them, Warrior Trading is an 8 figures direct-to-consumer software brand and also education as well. And after we do these work with these agencies, I started to kind of focus on building our own brands and firms. And we started out building two different brands, or sorry, three brands actually. And now we have three brands in house, and we've also implemented these in creating D2C design. So we started out going from fractional CMO, creating our own brands, and then from our brands, we found out there was a consistent need to be really high level on design, because at the end of the day, design is how customers will make buying decisions, and DTC affects retail, it affects everything that you do. And so we had to figure out a good process, and that's how we created D2C design, was that we actually figured out how to build a good team and a good structure to work with different brands. And so once we created that, we started to get referred to a lot of awesome, amazing companies like Welly, Pete's Coffee, Mosh, Sola, Dandy Snips, a lot more brands that are then listed on here. These are just some of the snapshots, some of the brands there. We've also been working with brands that are just startup as well, or they've raised a little bit of early stage capital or bootstrapped, and just helping them design full stack. So today, what I'm going to show you is literally what we're doing in-house right now. So I'm going to focus on like actually, you know what, let me go full screen on this. There we go. So what I'm going to be focusing on today is going to be the three design principles that we use internally. And I'm going to make this extremely actionable and valuable so that you can literally take it, execute it with your team and see results. So for sake of time, this presentation is structured where I'm going to focus on the build part. So the build part is how we design for 7 to 8 figure brands and the essential website landing pages, ads, emails that you need to grow, with a breakdown of what you need. So I want you to kind of walk away with like the templates and steps with a roadmap to build. So here's kind of like the structure that most brands kind of focus on, right? You've got your audience that you go through, they see your digital and social ads. Once they see that, they decide to visit your website. You have your homepage design kit, you have your bundle subscription product page, welcome trial kit, influencer landing design kit. These are the things that a lot of the top tier CPG brands have on their direct to consumer website. And I'll kind of go into what a design kit is, but they have all these core pages outside of their homepage and their main website to drive conversions for their customers. And what's working well now that you can make a note of is doing ads, UGC based ads, and driving them to landing pages that are specifically focused on a core campaign or offer versus driving them to your homepage. So, and then afterwards, they go to your email marketing, they follow your social, and then they might not buy. Well, majority don't buy the first time they see your site, 90+ percentage wise. And then afterwards, they become a customer. So a design kit, think of it as this, but essentially it's a set of website pages, emails, ads, and socials that are centered around your campaign. And so most of the brands we work with, they think about it in a framework like this. So they're not just thinking about one specific asset, but what they're thinking about is how do we design multiple landing pages around this campaign. So for example, let's say subscription or your first time trial offer that you sell to first time customers, or your welcome bundles, or your special sales, let's say 4th of July special sales, creating landing page set, four different specific creatives on around emails that promote your offer, and then creating a set of different types of ad variations that also follow along with that specific promo as well. You can see here in the brackets, we got UGC type ad variations, offer specific ad variations, products, and then offers are the ones where you're using different value propositions and different ways to position that, which I'll get into in a bit and show you exactly how it's done. And then you also your social media as well to kind of promote that specific campaign. So after that, so this is the process that we actually use for brands way before we even design these types of kits. And this is a time to kind of screenshot this as well. Unlocking this is how you unlock your competitors marketing in 15 minutes for free. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna make a list of like the top 10 direct competitor brands and websites, Facebook and TikTok page. Number one. Number two, you're gonna make a list of the top 10 indirect or aspirational brands, website pages, and Facebook and TikTok. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna plug in the domain on this site, which is site 24x7, and then also subdomains as well. And the reason why you want to do this is you want to get all the pages and subdomains that they have, because remember I just mentioned that a lot of these brands that you're looking upwards towards, they probably are spending a lot on advertising. And what they're doing is that they're using subdomains and landing pages to drive that traffic and convert customers. So these two sites will actually show you their landing pages and their subdomains that they're driving traffic towards. And just to make it even more accurate, the next step you want to do is you want to go on Facebook ads library, TikTok ads library, to find all their ads that they published in the last couple of months. What this will do is you'll allow you to discover other potential brands to expand your list, discover the exact landing pages they're optimizing for, and discover the exact ads that they're spending hundreds of thousands to potentially millions of dollars on. Number five, you plug it into the website landing page links onto archive.org so you can see how they've optimized the website and landing page. This will allow you to understand how they've conversion optimized their website and landing page so you can apply it to your own ads and landing pages. Lastly, if you want to see the exact email marketing that they're doing, you go on build.com and you're able to actually plug in your brand, or not your brand, but your competitor's brand or aspirational brand, and you're actually able to find the email marketing that they're using. A bonus is to use a site like Built With to find all the apps that the brand is actually using. And then here's the thing, you want to use this app to document everything, put it onto a slide. So let me actually show you what this looks like in action. So let's say, for example, let's say your competitor brand's Harry's. So Harry's, they're one of the original OG direct-to-consumer brands. They're massive now. They started out, I think, like 6 or 7 years ago. Now they're doing 400 to 500 million revenue from an inside source. I have a friend that works at Harry's, and then they got their Facebook page as well here. And then afterwards, you're going to take a look at all the different types of ads that they're running on the Facebook ads side, you can see here. Then what you're going to do is you go on your TikTok, you're going to go on the ads library in TikTok. So this is very not as well known. A lot of people don't know that there's a TikTok creative center that you can go on to find actual creatives that brands are spending money on. And then afterwards, you go to archive, you're going to plug it in harrys.com and you're going to see this. And it's going to show you, you can even see right here, this will show you all the pages and how the website has evolved over the years. And you can click on it like a little bit of like a time loop there. Built With will show you exactly the type of analytics data, any apps that they're using on here. This is mill.com. So this will show you what the brand's using in email marketing. And then afterwards, here's the D2C design hack. So you're gonna basically rinse and repeat this process every quarter. This is what we do for our own brands. This is what we do for client brands, and continue to expand your ring of brands. So for example, Every Day, which is our dog health supplement brand, we look at our direct competitors here. Then what we're gonna do is we expand outside of that ring. So dog food and supplies brands. Then we're gonna look at all pet brands. then we're going to look at human supplement brands, and then human health brands. So the biggest thing that this does is that I recommend this as well, brainstorm and build from this process and do a workshop on everything with your team. And you'll be shocked by the amount of ideas and strategies that you'll get from this just by looking at all these different brands that are cutting edge in their D2C side. This is one of the best growth hacks that we implement every single quarter, and it just allows us to stay relevant and allows us to be like really leading in our category because we're able to expand our ring of understanding in the DTC space. And literally, it's all following that process I laid out. So at the end of this process, as you follow it, you'll be overwhelmed with number one, an understanding of your competitors' ads and landing pages that they're spending actual dollars on, the email marketing that they're using to convert the 90% or more that don't buy on the first time they land on the website, and then how they convert them through the customer journey. You're going to get unlimited ad angles and copywriting so that you can use on your entire DTC marketing campaigns or even retail. And then you can personalize and adapt it for your brand and product. Number four, how to build a converting landing page that you can be confident will convert that traffic into customers. And then number five, everyone that I've shared this with, this process, they've gone through it and they have a deeper understanding of D2C design and the marketing that works because you're literally seeing what brands are putting millions of dollars behind live. So next, what I'm going to show you is an example of what we do once we find, for example, a landing page. So this is a brand called Ritual. They're pretty well known in, I'd say, as a supplement company, Ritual.com. They spend a lot of millions of dollars on advertising on our landing pages. So what we do is we have a team that focuses on just like breaking down the landing pages like this. And this is what you want to do especially if you're spending dollars on ads, because this is what's going to allow you to build really good converting landing pages is by looking at the pages, breaking it down like this, red boxing each section that you can see here. So you want to break it down, each section that's there, put a red box behind it. And what this will do is you want to screenshot this page and you want to use this checklist as a way to go through each of those sections. So asking yourself, what is the purpose of each section? Why is this visual important? What marketing goal are they showing? What copy are they using? What is their offer? What are the psychological triggers that they're using? How are they selling the audience on this page? And here's the thing, after you've done this for 100 plus landing pages, you'll see a pattern and have a trained eye. And every time you see a landing page, you'll know exactly what they're trying to achieve. A bonus tip here is to use either wireframeapp.io, which is a free tool, or Figma to wireframe and use these sections as a guide while adapting your brand and product as a reference and inspiration. So here's an example. This is our product page for our dog supplement brand. This is what the page looks like. And what we did was we looked at 3 different competitor brands, indirect and direct, on how they're positioning their pricing. So Dandy is a competitor brand. This is how they laid out the pricing, which is really smart. So the way that they did it was they broken down by price per day. And I know for a fact that this page is converting well because they're spending dollars on it. And you can see how they break it down into 3 tiers. They have badges as well on it. This is Heights. It's a brain care supplement. And what they did was you can see here, similar things. They have a monthly plan. They don't even allow you to buy one time. And then this is another competitor brand in the pet space. So what we did was we took the lessons from each, and this only came because of the process that I showed you earlier. And then we created a personalized page that looks like this for ourselves, which actually works really well. So that's one of the things that we've been able to do. If we didn't do this process, we would have just been like a basic product page template like everybody else. But really understanding what's out there in the market will allow you to shift and be really creative around how you design your pages, because ultimately how you design it is how your customers will buy. It'll dictate everything that they make a decision on. So here's how we do specifically our digital and social ads as well. So here's some key tips for you to follow. So on the left, you can see we always storyboard our ads. I have to tell you, if you're spending money on ads right now and you do not storyboard your ads, you're losing already. The reason why is because you can't optimize a creative without understanding what's going on into it. So we storyboard each and every single one of our ads, and with the visuals, the copy, literally how you see it on the screen. So you can optimize it, kind of thinking as building blocks. And this will allow you to swap things out because as you're looking at metrics, you need to understand what you need to change. And then you want to test the variations of the same ad. So step number two or tip number two is to always do a static version. Static means like just the image, do a motion version, and then do a video style version on the same offer. So you can have, let's say, for example, you are promoting your product. Think about those three different varieties of displaying the offer. And then the third tip I have for you is the ad has to match the landing page copy and structure of your ad. I can't tell you how many brands come to us and they running ads without matching the landing page that they're driving to or the offer, and they're just losing conversions because of it. Like they're just burning money because the ad doesn't match the landing page. People get confused. They don't understand. Like people drive their ads to go to homepage, and then they're just losing money because people don't know where to go, what to do. The fourth tip I have for you is a simple formula that you can use for ads that has worked extremely well for us, for our clients. So following this process where it's you're optimizing for the stop scroll, so visual problem statement for your product. So think about what your product is doing in terms of what it's solving for the customer and also what the benefit is to them. Use an emotional hook, a satisfying reveal, value prop, and then a review and UGC style type thing, show an offer, and then a CTA. So you can kind of see how this is kind of laid out and through there, right? So for us, we highlight dog issues and problems. Then we show like how the box looks like. We focus on this one specifically is our allergy and immune product. And then we showcase and show UGC of people actually using the product. And then we actually show our customer, which is our dogs are awesome. So we're gonna use like dog footages here, and then we have always have a CTA at the end. Now this looks long, but it's only about 15 to 20 seconds long. And this tip is probably the most important one at the end. So the first 3 to 5 seconds of your ad will determine 80% of your ad success on whether or not your audience will stay around. Because think about it, if you don't have their attention, how can you sell them? So the ad really needs to hook them in, and you need to like literally you think about it last time you bought when you're scrolling on Facebook or on TikTok or anything that you've seen an ad on, it caught your attention and it was relevant to you before you bought. So you need to really go deep on your ads, especially if anyone here is spending money on ads or plan to spend money on ads. Follow this process to really get things down from the get-go. So the next thing I'll show you an example. Here are some of the ads that we've done, and there are all kinds of different varieties, and depending on the offer that you're trying to promote. So you can see how you can kind of just like kind of take a moment to pause and kind of see like there's a lot going on this page, but you're going to see the different ways that we kind of highlight creatives and make them really engaging. From Welly, from Pete's Coffee, this is an example of a nice motion graphic. It's like instead of static, you can see the liquids pouring out, and then you've got swipe up to join the club. Very subtle, and then the text kind of moving. This is for Shalom, which is a flavor-based product. And you can kind of see how we kind of lay things out, add a little motion. Even for Solo Bread, you can see here how we kind of make things really animated here, us versus them. So all of these ads perform really well. And the reason why is because it's very engaging. It calls out the brand's core values and benefits to the customer in a very short and visual way, which causes them to want to click through and learn more, right? So I'm gonna move on to the next one. So this is another thing to screenshot as well. So one of the ads that are working really well are high converting UGC ads. So the process to follow for that is organic plus how to. So something that looks very natural, do a visual overlay, show an offer, and then a CTA, just like you see on the screen here. So these are all CPG brands. So all of you that have CPG brands on the call, which is all of you, this is the formula to kind of follow through, right? You look at this like free shipping, overlay text, someone getting the offer there. They're like reviewing it, they're talking about it, and you're running ads like this. This will allow you to drive sales on your website. These are the best types of ads to do. Now, focusing on after we talked about ads now, the next part of this is website and landing page. So here's some landing page tips to really focus on this. So as you're driving up the ads now, you got that covered. Landing pages are designed to sell customers on this whole list of questions. I'm not going to go through this. You can screenshot this and kind of go through as a checklist when you're designing your pages, making sure all of these are included on the page. And I kind of mentioned this earlier, but design your page around your top performing ads and use an angle that's working in your ads and shape your landing page around that core value prop. Make sure your hero headline and image complement the ad creative. Show reviews and UGC throughout the page. This is a must. So always have content, either you're as the founder, you're recording it, your team's recording it on their iPhone or their Android, but have some level of UGC videos throughout the page. And they're supposed to be short reviews. These are what people are expecting now when they're going on a landing page. The typical written reviews work well too. Keep that at the very bottom of the page, but near the mid section or the top section, you want to have some UGC creatives on there. Designed for 3 to 5 thumb scrolls on mobile. So this is a really important tip. So when you're scrolling on your phone, I want you to, like, as you're scrolling through your landing page or your website, this is really important because you want to be able to get through and understand everything in 3 to 5 thumb scrolls on mobile. If it takes even more than that and people don't understand your product, they don't know what to do, then you're missing the mark on that. So you want to use heat maps and visitor recordings, which is a software to kind of track things. It's easy to really implement. I highly recommend it. And you want to optimize the content that you have on above 50%. So your whatever your page is, cut that in half, and that above 50% is what you should optimize for, because most people do not scroll to the bottom. They look at the first 10, 25, 50%, and then they leave. So that's one of the things that you want to focus on. And here's something that a lot of brands don't do, but it's extremely valuable. Use a user testing platform to get live narrated feedback from your audience performing tasks. So literally this site that I show here, this is one. You don't have to use this one, but I personally, we use this one in-house. But it's basically a tool that allows you to bring on your target audience in a virtual environment, and then they don't know anything about your brand. You let them know to perform a task. So for example, go on your product page and buy. And what they do is it records the session and they talk through what's going through their mind. And I can't tell you the amount of insights that you get from this is, like, it's so worth the money that it's such a small thing to do, but you get so many things because people ask questions that you might not even think about. So it's like blind audience reviews and testing. And like, instead of in person, them holding your packaging, it's in a virtual environment, your website, your landing page, your ads. Like, they're able to tell you what they honestly think, and you take that and you adapt it on your pages. This alone will be able to just like crush it for you in terms of what you do. I'm gonna skip this for the sake of time. How are we doing time in 31? Okay, so here's some examples of different landing pages and how we kind of craft it. Here's Mosh, which is this is a subscription page. This is a welcome kit page that you see here. This is an article ad landing page, and then this is a special offer page as well. So as we design pages, you can see there's differences in each one based on each product and what you want to highlight. So just showing you some of those just so you can go through. I'm not going to go through this. I would screenshot this real quick. These are kind of the 4 things to focus on as you're checklisting your landing page and website design. So whenever we do it, we look at data, quantitative, which most people look at, right? Your Google Analytics, your Shopify stats. Then there are 2, 3 things that people don't look at that's really important is qualitative. So your site recordings, your user feedback, your heat maps, your surveys. Objections and friction. So this is a key question to ask. What causes them not to buy on your site? What doubts do they have about your brand and your product? And then your branding and your messaging, right? Your messaging, your purpose, your audience synergy, all these key things are really important. I would screenshot this. This is the list that we go through when we design for our landing pages and website. So we make sure we check mark all of these on different parts of the website to be able to make sure we've got them. So this is the first part. This is the second part. And then email marketing design. So some key tips here. You're seeing some examples on the page. Here are like 7 really important marketing tips for as you're designing your email marketing. So always include emotion at the header of your email, demonstrating the core message. Always include a button above the fold on desktop and mobile. Always include a header with a special offer. So you can see we like to do a lot of motion graphics in our emails. And the reason why is because it drives more click-throughs and actually engages and converts. So it's always visually easy to show them easy and simple way that you want them to do after they click. So here's a good example. If you look at this hand, this is a refer a friend campaign. You can see that the hand's kind of giving a product there, and then the finger is actually pointing at the button as well to refer now. if they decide to scroll down, they can see exactly what they need to do after they click through. This is one of the highest converting click-through emails as well as on the campaigns, because what this email does well, right above the 50%, is it shows them what it's about, why they should do it. You have a visual example of showing them someone giving the product. There's a refer now button. There's a share the love of 123. There is a lifestyle image of two friends enjoying a at-home spa day. Here is a product launch email. Here's a special discount email. Here's a brand update email. You can kind of see how each email has their own cadence towards how we visually illustrate these things. Remember, don't overwhelm an email. A lot of times I see brands make a mistake of, they add so much content in their emails. People aren't going to read it. The ultimate goal of an email is to get them to click through and go to landing page, right? If you can see why there's a button everywhere on all these pages here for them to click above the fold, because that's ultimately the goal. You want them to click through. Keep your email short with a scroll length of about 4 thumb swipes. That's the best way. So on mobile, if you're scrolling through, you use your thumb and you swipe. 3 to 4 thumb swipes is the perfect ideal. If it's more than that, it's too long. So remember, the goal of the email is to sell the click. So branding side, I can tell you this is really important. So the biggest mistake that I see brands not making as well is not focusing on their brand identity and then intentionally designing for conversion across the customer journey from start to finish. This is the make or break of every brand. I can tell you, like, there's a lot of brands that fail because they don't have that consistency on their design. And so you think about this question right here. So, or not the question, but the statement: your customers are overwhelmed with choices every single day, and your competitors are spending millions of dollars to get them to buy. So if your branding isn't on point and it doesn't get their attention and sell them on trying your product the first, second, or third time, then how will you grow? And so this is one of the things I see a lot, and we experienced this really early on when we didn't focus on branding and design. Bad branding and design just equals low conversion. And branding isn't just about making things look pretty, but it's the copy, it's the design, the values, the experience, the products, the packaging, the UGC content. It's the entire customer journey from start to finish. So here's an example of a literal example that you can see here of a CPG product called Shala, which is a flavor-based brand. And so when Shala came to us, this is what they were posting. Basically, it was just like graphics like this of their delicious food to make people look hungry. So they were doing that right. They were making people hungry. And then they were showing the products here. And then afterwards, this is what they were posting. This is what they had on their brand website. This is on their email marketing. And they weren't driving a ton of conversions. And so we did a brand deep dive. We started to work with them. And what ultimately, if you look at their site now, this is what it looks like. Completely revamped branding. We did a whole analysis around everything I just shared with you above. So this is what their social media looks like now, their digital and social ads, their websites, and their email marketing, and conversions have compounded because people are going through the entire customer journey and they're getting a consistent experience across the board. So you can see that, like, we always like to focus on calling out key value props, what the benefit is to the customer, the versatility of the product, in this case with Shala, and the UGC that you can see here across their website, and just making a whole consistent experience so that everything is going to convert much higher. And then, yeah, so that's the last slide here. So basically, I'm going to go through some Q&A for you. I'll review some of your sites, but I'll exit through here. If you guys would like for us to, my team to actually take a look at your brand, review it, and if you're interested in potentially working with us as well, based on what you've seen, yeah, we'd love to kind of do that for some of you there. We're kind of swamped from last week's presentation. We got hundreds of people just like booking calls, but we're a little backed up. But if you want to find some time, if you're interested, go to d2cdesign.com. Click on the button, grow your D2C brand, and you can book a time there. So yeah, just a soft offer there for anyone that's interested and got value from this. So let's go through some Q&A.
And love that, man, and appreciate you walking through this. I know there was a
A
lot
lot of
here,
content.
so for everyone, I'll be sending out the recording so you can go back and rewatch any things that you missed or screenshot anything. But as I mentioned, would love to kind of do a breakdown of sites to see what can be improved.
Let's do it.
if anyone wants to do that, I don't know. Like I know Greg, you're working on it. Do you want to have them take a look at
I'm
your site when
scared to
ready?
look at. Well, you know what? I mean, our old one's terrible right now. I'm the first one to, and we've actually, we've kind of put a pause on our outreach right now, just in anticipate. I'm literally just trying to get the first production run going. But I was good, Ben. So I was just gonna say like that. I felt like that was like a concentrated set of genius explanation that demystified all this crap for me in about 20 minutes. Like that, just I feel like I learned more out of that than the last kind of 3 years of staring at ads and trying to figure out why they weren't working. So
I appreciate that. I
thank you.
appreciate that. It's
Awesome.
I wanted to really share exactly like, breaking down everything so it's digestible. I know it's a lot to go through in 20, but yeah, definitely if you watch the recording and you literally just follow the process, you'll be in a really good place. So yeah.
No, it's well, you know what? I mean, I think you've taken the same approach with the explaining the fundamentals as you have with the ads. So it's actually creating them in digestible chunks and really clear explanations. So kudos to you. Yeah, very excited to actually have your team kind of take a look at things. So appreciate the opportunity to do that, and my partner and I for sure will take you up on that. And yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know where to start because I mean, there's so many good parts here. I just want one question, that one sort of usability assessment. I did I mean, years ago did some user testing I worked for one of the Canadian banks, and so it was kind of behind the scenes, behind the old kind of, like there's like a one-way window. Is that essentially what that usability company is doing, where they're basically doing a task? It's all recorded. You're actually
Exactly.
seeing
Yeah.
your
And
click
it's like
flow.
it's all digital as well. It's very cost efficient. It's like, for example, it could be like $5-10 a test, and you just get like 10 tests or something. Now, some of them, if you want, brands do like hundreds of tests. And then they're like, they always get insights to optimize their entire website or landing page. And it's just so invaluable. And you only spend a couple $100 for it. It's like, it's just a no brainer. So
Yeah. Okay. No,
And
that's
that
great.
brings up a good question. So how do you suggest founders take action on all these steps? Because a lot of people I know are like 3 to 5 to 10 person teams, and they don't
yeah.
necessarily have someone that's like dedicated to ecom. Like, how much do you see companies like spending on optimizing this stuff? And maybe if they are smaller, like where to start?
Yeah, so I would definitely go through right away. This is actually the best place. This list. Oh, sorry, not this one. This one is the most important slide, I'd say, because this allows you to uncover your own learnings. Because like as you go through this, you'll know like there's people that email me all the time when they go through this. They're like, wow, like just like the amount of level of depth they see from all these steps allows them to they adjust their marketing for sure. They change their copy, they change their website, and it builds their own almost like their marketing plan because all these links drive you to show you exactly what other brands are doing. Now, it might not be direct competitors, but aspirational brands that you like, and you see that wow, they're doing this, and your mind starts like spinning on its wheels, and it's like really getting going with a lot of ideas. That's why I recommend the tip here was like do this with your team, because this like everyone will brainstorm, everyone will talk about ideas, and you'll just be like inundated with so many things. And then you want to hone in obviously on like what's the core things that's going to drive sales, and depending on the stage of your brand. And then afterwards you definitely still, it's like piece step by step for sure. There's a lot in here, but I wanted to break down the whole funnel that I showed here, right? So from like start to bottom essentially. Now I do have stuff that cover convert and branding positioning, but just like that will take
Yeah.
that I can't cover in like 20 minutes, all three. But build is the most important step, I'd say, for most brands. And then convert is more like you're really solid, you're spending a decent amount on ads, you're converting well, you have a lot of customers. Once you're dialed in, this is like how to get extra juice out of that. And then this is the key principle is like branding and positioning, which most brands don't focus too much on, but they should, because it literally is this it's like here's the biggest I see like founders that like, I don't want to run ads, I want to run email marketing, I want to run all these things. And then what they found out is like they don't get the conversions they need, and they're wondering why. Is it because of their ads? Is it because of the ad agency? Well, it's because of like the design. It's because of the branding, because someone that sees an ad, they don't like the ad. The ad could be good, but if it doesn't follow a specific process and they go on a landing page, but the landing page isn't good, then you're not going to convert no matter how much dollar you spend on it. So it's just about efficiency. So yeah.
And Benson, so I mean, I think that's a great suggestion to go and kind of get a true in-depth landscape of what your competitors are doing. Is there
Yeah.
anywhere you would say, yeah, maybe it's dependent on, or it'll be obvious after going through that, but is there anywhere you would say you would differentiate, like, so you're not sort of doing, essentially like being a world of sameness in that space, or
Yeah.
will that
So I
become
have
obvious after the?
Yeah, good question. So that it becomes obvious as you see more, and also this ring of brands. So this is a good example. Like we're looking at like Ritual, for example, or other brands for our own dog health brand, because we've expanded like the area, right? The industry. This slide actually was skipped, by the way. So when I was clicking on it, I might have clicked it too fast, but here's a really good example. So why is the first step that we covered important, which is what I was just sharing you on the slide, is because you want to know what your customers are exposed to and have them tell the difference. So I underline this. What you're seeing on the screen, these are actual brands. So most people know Quip, right? They're probably the most well known for oral care. But just look at like is equally flattered by Gobi, Burst, Gleam, Boca, shit. Like there's like you tell me the difference between these brands. It's like you can't, So it's like you want. Then the reason why is because once you see this research, you're gonna see all. If this comes up, this is a bad sign, by the way. But good thing is that you guys aren't in the oral care space. It's one of the spaces I would not enter. But it's like you can see how competitive and crazy it is. People can't tell. Like you're spent your commodity basically at that point. But you want to find the uniqueness in your website, your branding, because that's gonna make the difference. So we're always thinking about looking at the landscape for our client brands, our own brands, and how do we continue to differentiate or tell the story to our customers so that they know that when they're buying from us, it's something that's different. And again, this obviously has a lot to do with your product, but I'd say like overall, it definitely has tangible impacts in your conversions.
And love that. Here, this is one thing that I found as well. So when running my brand T Squares, right, we're doing Amazon, D2C on our own site, grocery. We're selling
Yeah,
to our corporate offices. We're doing so much, and realize just building all of it at once, which is really challenging. I know a lot of food and beverage brands are doing the same thing in this whole omni-channel approach. What I always
yeah,
recommend is either start with like one channel and go deep in that one channel until you maximize everything. And that gives you the time and space to go through these full checklists, even if you're a small team. Or if you're already kind of omni-channel, do things in like 3 month sprints if you can, right? So when I built our Amazon page, it started with like nothing. The page was doing like $20 in sales a week. And so I spent 3 months like just focusing on doing new things in Amazon, maintaining the other parts of the business, but like really focusing on Amazon, and ended up, going up to thousands of dollars a week just because I gave the time and attention that it needed. And so, you have to figure out what works best for your business, but really kind of think about it as a dedicated sprint to optimize things.
yeah, that's a good point. I think focus is really key because there's a lot that goes into it. But what I would say is if I were to, on any of your brands, depending on the stage, if or resources you have, I would focus on ads and landing page. Your website, most people are secondary because most people, well, first of all, if you're driving ads for your website, bad move. Ads to a landing page on your website, and then keep it focused offers. You'll see that if you look at a lot of your top competitors, but that's how they're scaling now, because that's just a way to keep things really dialed in. And then they have multiple landing pages, multiple ads and everything, and it's all driving to the top 3 to 5 landing pages. It allows you to scale.
So Ben, here's a
And
here's a question. I know a
yeah,
lot of brands or founders are talking about this idea of like, don't focus on your competitors, focus on like your brand and your customers.
yeah,
But this approach is saying like, hey, look at all your customers so you know what they're doing.
yeah.
What's your thought on that? Like, should you? I mean, obviously you're thinking like focus on customers, but what's the right approach when you're looking at your customer sites? Is it to copy them? Is it to get inspiration? Like, how are you approaching it?
Once you look at each of these areas, I would literally build a slide. You'll have hundreds of slides on everything from screenshots. And then from there, I would look at ads, because that's the first step of your funnel. And then landing pages. So I would literally follow this this chart and flow right here. So your ads, and then your landing pages, and then your email mark. Because if you optimize your email marketing, it won't matter, because you're not getting the ads, you're not getting the landing pages. People aren't gonna go on your site either way, and the people aren't buying. So what's the point of optimizing that? So it's like you want to start from the front to back. And if you get really solid ads and landing pages, then you're already winning. I would say even half the game right there. Yeah.
Would you advocate though to like
Yeah.
essentially use your competitors' headlines and copy to test versus like doing your own customer research and using a customer-driven approach?
I'd say a combination of both. I think once you've done the process, you'll want to test these headlines and these copy points. But I can tell you, like, once you break it down like this, let me go back to that slide there. But this section here where you've got like this page and you're literally red boxing everything and you're building your landing page, like there could be like 30, 40 that you're red boxing different landing page sections, and you'll know how to craft your page because you're gonna ask yourself these questions here, and they're gonna tell you exactly why, like, why is this here? What's their point, right? Why did they include this? Why is there this photo? And then you'll be able to, once you've done this process, you're going to be like a really experienced, or your team members will be experienced in understanding how to craft a page, because they can't craft a page without understanding what's out there and what your customers are already seeing. So it's like, okay, then you know. And also, here's keep in mind, if you see a page that's already, these are all live, right? So that means your competitors are testing these pages already. It means they're actually putting dollars behind these pages and ads. So that way you're able to actually see exactly what you need to test as well. So, and you could, I'd say, like, maybe not directly copy the headline, but personalize it. I wouldn't like use the exact copy. The structure you could use, but you obviously got to personalize it for your page. And so sometimes when we even take pages, wireframe it from other categories, and then we just put our own elements on there, and it works out well, right? It's a continuous iteration process. Like, our whole goal is to get as high of a conversion as possible, especially nowadays with, you know, like inflation, cost of advertising, and just overall costs. Like, we got to be really efficient, and that's where the design is so key, because it's your first thing the customer sees. So understanding the landscape is important.
Yeah, and I think that that's a good point, right? If you're looking at just one competitor, then it lends towards copying. But if you're looking at a dozen or a
Yeah,
hundred, then it's continual education and learning, right? Because you're not
exactly.
gonna,
Yeah.
if you don't do design, you're not gonna spontaneously come up with it for most people. But it lends towards it being inspired by like what works, what doesn't work, and what people are using.
Yeah, because a lot of people, you know, it's like, don't try to come up with something from nothing. But if you actually have like a thing that you're looking at, like the whole thing, you do this process, I guarantee you're gonna have enough stuff to do for the whole year. And like, it'll just like, and you keep doing it every quarter, you're just gonna be like, you just know, right? You're just gonna be at the cutting edge of stuff. So
All right, we got
Benson,
9 minutes.
the
Go ahead.
landing page success, is that just like, is that a recent evolution? Is that just, do you think, from your perspective, is that just core good design because there's like a continuity with the
yeah, so
ad?
I'd say I come from like the whole all-in marketing space. I'd say it's always been there, but for CPG and D2C, it hasn't been as heavily focused on until the past couple of years. I'd say 3 to 4 years, because just iOS changes, you're able to test in a controlled environment. You know, but that's the big thing about landing pages, that you can test your copy, your images. People won't escape from your landing page usually. Like, there's no menu usually on the landing page,
Right.
and you're able to keep it in a controlled environment. You're able to test a lot of elements. You're also able to see analytics as well on how it converts. And landing pages, from my experience, have always converted better than the main homepage. Like,
Okay.
just sending people to the homepage and they browse. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the base of my question was just if it's a response to kind of what's happening, you know, in the environment now. But
I
it
think
sounds
so.
like more, it's just like a permanent thing we have to become really good at. Kind of
I think it's definitely
protecting.
permanent. I think it's here to stay. It's kind of always been there. It's just CPG brands haven't been focusing as much on it. until recently in the past couple of years. So I'd say it's definitely here to stay.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like from an overall perspective, you're sending your customers to a controlled environment where they're having a controlled experience to buy, and make a buying decision the first time. And then you want to optimize that whole experience there.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
traffic used to be much cheaper, right, with
exactly.
ad spend, and so now that it's more expensive, you really need to get more out of that, the traffic
Yeah,
that you're
that's a good
seeing.
point. That's exactly it too. Yeah, like things are just way more expensive, so you need to be more smart and like efficient with how you like test marketing. So
Can you tell me how you're hosting your landing pages in relation? Because I see that you mainly use Shopify as your basis for your where you do your current design. So we use WooCommerce. So I just want to try and understand how
that's a
you.
good question.
Oh, Benson, you still there?
Coming.
All right, let's see if he gets back in. Yeah, Martin, I think I'm not sure about Benson. We'll see if he jumps back on, but I know a lot of brands, there's a couple other landing page specific sites that they use. I forget some of the names are popping out of my head right now, but they're really just focused on like building a simple page. You don't have all the scripts and everything else running from your site. But Benson, any landing page sites that you recommend?
Yeah, so I would say that like what we're doing, either we are building it full stack on Shopify, just literally developing it on our actual Shopify platform. Number two, we're using either Shogun, or right now, here's a tool that we're using. It's called builder.io. I'll send you a link to it. And we're actually testing this. And it's like how we're iterating on pages much faster. If you aren't already using a page builder, I would highly recommend this one. We're actually going to be implementing this already, and it's like ahead of its time, I'd say. So yeah, take it from me. It's a good one.
Why Shopify as opposed to WooCommerce, just as a matter of interest? Because we found that we were so restricted with Shopify at the time when we were doing our design. This is quite a few years ago when we started. And we had to go the route of saying, well, we need to have some ability to be able to do. So we created this whole builder box approach, where you can build your shopping, and we took us our average order from $17 to $42 and we couldn't build that into that. It was too complicated within Shopify to do so. That's why we did it the other way around.
Yeah, good question. So I actually think like I'm personally platform agnostic. I like WooCommerce is great too. Like you're able to do a lot of customizations there. It just happens that we personally chose Shopify because we wanted to have all the apps in there. There is like customizations on there. We want to be on Shopify Plus. I think it's preference. I don't think that you can argue for both pros and cons, but I'd say like it's preference.
Now you ask, because I see on your site you specify specifically Shopify, so I wanted to ask why that was the case.
Martin,
yeah,
because
most of the brands sorry.
No, I was just saying I made the switch from WooCommerce to Shopify. One of the biggest things was that Shopify and their apps are designed better for page load speed and checkout flow. And with WooCommerce, once we start adding like more apps in there were some that were really dragging down our page loading time. And it was really hard without having the developer to match all those together, because the WooCommerce apps I found have a lot more extra and redundant code.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We had to work a lot on that. Absolutely. And that probably, but at the same time, once we were stuck in it, you really started scaling, and that's why we decided to stick with it and where we are today.
Yeah, and the reason why we say Shopify, just because that's our messaging, right? We're on most of our brands that we work with, 95% on Shopify. So we were like, okay, let's just literally put our own messaging. Because if you think about it, that page on our site is a landing page, right? So
I know.
For you see that might be like, oh, I guess I'm not part of the audience. But if you think about this customer journey, right? Like you're watching this presentation, I explained that to you, so that now maybe we have a call, who knows? But like overall, like you can see. But if you went on the page and you saw Shopify, that might have turned you off and be like, I guess I'll move on. Who knows? Yeah.
Just a quick question: how do you do audits when you look at companies and seeing how you can do? Because there are different assets that everybody has along the way, And we may decide, look, we've got our design team that we don't want to change because it's just, that's part of our branding and our look, and to start getting a third party to start rebranding, that doesn't make sense. But for the purpose of coming together, and we always look, because we've got people over the world, we strict to our emails with a guy in the UK, we've got Brazil, we've got all over the world. We found specialists in each area to support us as we're growing this journey. So we'd love to have that experience to be able to talk to you and show you where we're at and see how we can take our business to the next step.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And in terms of bandwidth, so we specifically focus on DTC, and we design a lot of the, conversion assets that we have here. I'm happy to have one of my like brand strategists hop on a call with you and just kind of chat.
Fantastic.
But yeah, for sure.
Okay. And you'll
Awesome.
send your details afterwards for us to connect with you.
I think so. I mean, I can send you our website. You can feel
I've
free
got
to
your
hop
website,
on.
yes. Well, I've got your, based on what you got, I'll go on the website and go from there. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then I
design.
guess email Jordan if you want to send emails out or something. If you want to connect, no worries.
Yeah, I can
That's
connect
great.
you definitely. Well, hey everyone, Ben, thanks so much for being on. This was awesome. I'm going to
Thank
be editing the recording over the weekend and send this out probably Tuesday or so next week. But thanks so much everyone for joining. Have a great holiday weekend if you're here in the
thank
States
you.
with us. And
Yeah,
Very
happy 4th of
enlightening. Thank you
July.
very much. Yep, all the best.
Good to see you as well. Thanks, Sasha and Tiffany. Wasn't able to talk to you, but yeah, everyone have a great long weekend. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
everyone.
much.
Yeah, awesome.
Bye.
Awesome session.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks
Take
so
care.
much.